is I will share my screen. Thank you. The first thing I'll do is I will share my screen and we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Hi, Carlos. Welcome.
Hello.
Okay. Let me share my screen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the
of the United States of America,
to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation
under
under God,
God,
in
liberty and justice for all.
liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Stop sharing. I'm having a miss. You want to, oh, there we go. Stop share. Perfect. Okay. All right. I'm just going to start answering or asking the questions. Feel free to answer what you want to answer and by just raising your hand. And if you don't want to answer a question, then feel free to skip. So the first one is what brought you and or your family to America? Anybody want to? Yes, go ahead, Carlos.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate this opportunity. I came to America in 2009 as an international student. After graduating the law school in Venezuela, I decided to come to America to improve my education and start learning English. That was the first reason why I arrived, why I came to the United States.
Great. Would anybody else like to answer?
Okay. Can I answer? Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Kerry, for inviting me here. My name is Philemon Sium. I'm originally from Eritrea. Well, the main reason why I came to America is in search of freedom, liberty, because the country I came from is like there is no freedom of movement, freedom of whether it's inside or from the country to other country, no freedom of faith or religion, no freedom of literally no freedom of anything, including your lives owned by the communist state. So the main reason I came to America is in search of freedom. Before I came here, I went to Israel in search of freedom, which I was actually given temporary asylum. And that's where I met my American wife and then got married. I came legally to America. So that's the brief introduction where I came from. And thank you for inviting me again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We're glad to have you. Does anyone else want to answer that question?
Yeah, this is Anna.
Anna.
Did you hear me? Yeah, this is Anna. I'm director for Youth Alliance for American Espanol. I came in 1987 when Ronald Reagan was the president. At that time in the 80s in Peru, we have a lot of terrorism. It was living every day in terror. That's what it was happening in Peru in the 80s. And that's why it's one of the reasons I decided to come here and find peace in here. A really peace. Because when you live in a country where terror is every day, you don't know where it's gonna be bombed. Could be the theater, could be the supermarket, could be anywhere, could be the pharmacy or school. It was every single day we had a bomb someplace. And living like this, it was no peace at all. So I came here and I felt a big peace. That's what I can define when I came here.
That is beautiful. Anyone else? Go ahead, Anna. Anna Jackson.
Try to unmute. Anna Flavia. Oh, did I unmute?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
I came here, I stumbled into the US seeking for an edge in education. So I came after high school and I came here to go to college. It was a roundabout way. It didn't work out. I became illegal for a little bit and then I got married. And then through that route, I, obtained a green card and then went to college. But ultimately, I wasn't expecting to come and stay. But I'm sure you're gonna get to it later. But I stayed here. I guess I could say because I will get emotional about America. There's no country like America.
I can feel the tears already. Yeah.
They will come.
Does anybody else, or should we move to the next one?
Carrie,
Yes.
so the couple of people that should be still coming from that I invited tonight, they just were going to be here late, but so maybe we can swing back by as we see other people join.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we are recording this, so we'll make sure that it goes out immediately. Okay. What is different, good or bad, between your country of origin and the United States? Anybody? Go ahead, Carlos.
In my opinion, well, I came from, like I said, from Venezuela in 2009 as an international student. What is beautiful about America is the opportunity, and you can dictate your destiny in this beautiful country. It's different when you came from socialist regime or communist regime or any kind of regime, totalitarian regime. In America, you can find so many opportunities and also the freedom that you, like I said, that you can dictate your destiny. That's why, as elected officer during my campaign, my slogan was, "America is not a dream. America is a miracle." It's incredible how this country continuing being the last stand on earth for people like me who seeking political asylum, and people who are looking for opportunities. And just for let you know to the group, I arrived to the United States as a political as a international student, but during that time the Venezuelan regime started killing college students in Venezuela who were peacefully protesting. And I started denunciing the human rights violations here in the United States. I was invited to the Congress, to the Senate, even to the White House to talk about this. And during that time, one day I wake up like another person living in America, and the Venezuelan regime, the president of the Venezuelan parliament in national TV charged me treason and conspiracy. I became enemy of the state overnight, or enemy of my own country. And that's why I decided to apply for political asylum, and was an incredible opportunity. That's why this country, for everybody who arrive and work hard and sacrifice, they can find success for sure. It's not a complicated formula. I think that we have all the ingredients to succeed in America.
Wonderful. Anyone else?
Yeah, I can do that next. I don't know how.
Go
Well, as I was mentioning, I came from Eritrea, which is in East Africa. That you may not heard a lot about it, but it controls the most strategic location in the Red Sea, where 20% of global trade, 30% of shipping container is passing through, where a lot of terrorism. So it's like a different geographical location is there. But when I compare where I came from to America, when there were two things. I came from Eritrea, where 80% are Tigrinya people, believes in Judaism for 800 years before they adopted Christianity in the 4th century AD. Whereas the people been fighting Islamic imperialism, a lot of people in America knows that only the European imperialism, only the European or Western slavery, but we as a people, we are regional minority in the Red Sea on the shores of the Middle East, and we've been fighting Islamic imperialism for more than 1,400 years. Started from Persian Empire to Ottoman Empire to the Egyptian Mahdist to the Saudi Caliphates, and all this imperialism. When it comes to imperialism, we actually traumatized by Islamic imperialism more than any Euro, even though we were colonized by Italy, by British, we are more traumatized by the Islamic imperialism than the European imperialism. And then we've been fighting as a people against communism, because communism is a new idea actually, especially in the globe. It came in the last 9th century, and we were fighting against Ethiopian communists supported by the Soviet Union, while we were fighting. But our leader, which is the current president of the country, when he was young, he went to China, studied Mao communism, and imported that idea to our country, and controlled every institution that we had, whether it's financial, educational, school, even religious institution. So we were basically a victim of Islamic imperialism, Islamic slavery for almost more than 1,000 years, and the last 35 years is became a victim of this brutal communist ideology under this current president. So it gives me this perspective when I came to America or to the West. That's the main reason actually. When I say I love America, I mean it, because for me it's not like some fancy words that the idea of
describing those.
the idea of freedom and liberty that we have in America is not only a word, it's actual experiences that I could compare to my past life, to my past history as a people. So the freedom, the liberty, the opportunity that we have, that a lot of Americans takes for granted, and now like kind of attracted to the idea of free house, free health, free stuff. We all have that in Eritrea under the banner of communism. We have free housing, we have free education, free health. But the sad part is when you get something free, it's not actually free, because from the age of 18, whether you're woman or man, conscripted to the military under the idea of national service, for with no salary, with no any reward. So when they say something free, they take everything from you, whether it's your time, your children, your body. My father been in serving under the military with no pay for 45 years, and he's 59 and he's still there. So the reason I brought this idea, all this background history, where I came from, is the freedom that we have, the liberty that we have in America is something that's very valuable, that we have to defend against enemies, specifically against communist propagandist ideology and also against Islamic imperialism. And that's actually what I'm dedicating my life to do since I became in America, since I became American citizen, because I don't want to run away again from another brutal ideology where I personally experienced it, where my father experienced it. So I'm sorry for like taking a little bit time, but that's the whole. When I compare this idea, it gives me a very deep insight that how uh, valuable that the opportunity and the freedom, the liberty that we have here, and then it's worthy while defending it. Thank you
very
for
much. Thank you.
I
Anyone else on that one? Go ahead.
believe that Gina had her hand up.
Oh, go ahead, Gina.
Oh, thank you. I looked at those questions that you had done, and so I started thinking about things. And I think it's human nature to remember the good about the country that you come from, and then if you leave, you remember the good about America. So I could think of some things like that, and some things I jotted down. The first things that I noticed, the vocabulary was a little bit different. For instance, we instead of saying napkins, we'd say serviette. And so, but nappies to us are diapers. So, or that it was. So I've adjusted, obviously. I had to because by the time, and I had to also just tweak my accent a little bit because when my kid would ask for the bathroom, by the time somebody figured out what I was trying to ask for, it was too late. So I had to change a few things with certain people with my accent. But and some things are horrific too, because the vocabulary, British vocabulary versus American vocabulary is very different. So when I saw fanny packs for sale, I was mortified that they actually even wrote it. Anyway, I don't want to elaborate on that. But also because it's in the southern hemisphere, South Africa, Christmas time is summertime. And so we would have fruit salad and ice cream and go swimming maybe on Christmas Day. So that was very different, having snow and there's just so much variety in America. It's so vast. I came from South Africa, which is just a little country, probably about the size of Texas, that had a lot of different vegetations, there was desert regions, subtropical, Mediterranean climate in Cape Town. I was in a higher elevation. But so a lot of variety in this tiny little country. It's a beautiful country, beautiful beaches, and the chocolate is excellent, really good chocolate. Whereas I'm sorry, but the Hershey's is sickly sweet candle wax. but so that's the good that I'm remembering. And also for like university over there, there's no general education classes. You just get straight into your degree and you get going with getting your degree. But I think there's a positive in getting general education courses because it makes a more well-rounded education. Unfortunately, the crime rate is so high. And also now there's apparently load shedding is so bad that I think about 8 hours of the day they don't have electricity. So businesses have to either carry on by candlelight in the restaurants, or there has to be an alternate way to take payments. But it's been pretty bad. Also, of course, the confiscation of land without compensation, that's just unheard of in America, but that's happening in South Africa. So there's a huge difference there where laws there isn't a constitution like the Constitution of the United States. So whoever's in charge can just change the laws and change it completely that it's no longer, there isn't a stable, it depends on who's in power. There's no stability really in the Constitution. And sometimes I think I think South Africans tend to be a little bit come across as maybe aggressive because you try to communicate clearly and concisely. And so we might come across as being a little bit aggressive, like not as diplomatic, just saying it, like this is how we see it or whatever. But we're not trying to be rude or anything. We're just trying to be efficient with words and communicate clearly. What I noticed in America, Americans are very generous. And I was shocked to see bicycles on the pavement or on the sidewalk. And the next day they would still be there. I couldn't believe it. They weren't stolen. Just so amazing. And then also I found, and I still haven't been able to adapt to this, the wasteful thing. So much food is thrown away here. Having come from Africa, it pains me to throw away food. I can't. I feel like it's a sin, So anyway, and then also it's amazing here you can actually work and raise a family while studying and gaining a degree. That was just virtually impossible in South Africa to do that. It's so hard to do all of that. But this is the land of opportunity. So many blessings and everything. The cost of healthcare is very high here, though. The cost of housing, the cost of healthcare, comparatively speaking, it's excellent healthcare, the best in the world. Although I might say that the first successful heart transplant was Dr. Chris Barnard, so in South Africa. That was the first successful heart transplant. So they've had really good healthcare, very good standard of education up to a point. it was very difficult to get A's, almost unattainable. You had to be kind of unbalanced to get A's there in class. And over here, though, I love everything about America, though. So I'm giving you the pros and cons here because that was the question. One of the things that I noticed was that I didn't like as much was that the kids tended to be a little bit disrespectful to adults here and manners. I was raised with manners. Like in South Africa, it's really important to say please and thank you, and the men let women through the door first, stand up in a bus if there's a woman that's standing, that kind of thing. So that was a little bit of a shock. But I've got used to it now. But those are some of the things, and also lots of sugar in the food. So of course obesity tended to be a bit of a problem, and I did my part packing on the pounds. So I just have to be a little bit more careful and watch my health again and everything. It's easy to just pack on the pounds because there's so many yummy things to eat. There's an abundance of everything. And I'm so grateful, though. Communism, as was mentioned before, most of the cabinet members in South Africa, card-holding members of the Communist Party. So freedoms are, they went pretty quickly, actually. And you don't dare speak out against the government. Here, people can speak out against the government, generally speaking, until a certain point, I suppose. But and then you get attacked. But if you're brave enough, you can speak out. And so that's a huge difference. And I appreciate that that's such a fundamental right to have freedom of speech and freedom to believe as you want to and to do what you want to. And this is the last bastion of freedom and Christianity in the world. When America goes, that's the end of it. So it's so important. And I've noticed some things also when we left South Africa 35 years ago, inflation just was going crazy. Every time we'd go to the store, things would be more and more expensive. I'm noticing that starting here now. And I'm thinking, please, no, don't go the same way as South Africa. There's no better place in the world to live. People would complain. I was amazed. People complain so much about racism and victimhood here. And I couldn't believe it. I thought, you have every opportunity in the world. Why are you complaining here? You have no idea what it's like in the rest of the world. There was racism in South Africa. Yes, there were people that were racist. But here, I have not seen it as much. I'm sure there are isolated cases, but really there's nothing in law that prevents somebody from achieving. Oh, this is another one. In South Africa now, affirmative action is against the minority, which is kind of a shocking thing. So, and I don't think that it serves anybody well because I think it's insulting to the people that it tries to elevate. It's very demeaning and there's no merit there. So that was another thing that's on the go there.
Okay, that leads me into my next question. Have you personally, and this gets a little darker, but have you personally experienced bigotry from Americans? Does anyone want to answer that?
I have once. And it was kind of surprising. I was an extra in a church movie, and we were sitting around waiting for our part and everything, chatting and having some refreshments. And an African-American man found out that I was from South Africa, and he just laid into me, shouted at me that I'm a racist and everything. He just assumed because I'm a white South African that I must be a racist. So I think that was bigotry because he prejudged me. He doesn't know me. And so that's the only incident that I've experienced.
Anyone else want to answer that?
Terry,
Yes.
I've been living for many years in this country, and I never felt that way, and nobody came to me and told me because I'm Latina or bigotry or something like that. No, I think I never see it, honestly. I heard around me, people said they're complaining, they were talking, but in my way to see people, in my way to respond to people, when you are thankful and when you are respectful, you receive the same treatment from the other person. And I treat them always the same way I can treat my mom, my dad, my brother, or whoever is close, with a lot of respect, when it was moments that we need to talk and discuss something, always with respect. And at the end, the person, okay, understood what I really want to say. But I never had that experience. I always believe that, and the person who wanna talk about races, I mean, because I heard that. I heard a lot of people talking about they've been raised, they've been treating me like this or like that. It's because you, the person, you didn't stood up for yourself, or you didn't show who you are to that person. Do you have values like him? Do you have rights like him? Do you are just like him or like her? That's my way, I think, that I'm so blessed that around me I met wonderful, wonderful people. And all those years that I live here, I'm very blessed for that.
Does anyone else want to answer that? And welcome, Ethan.
Hi, lovely to meet you all, everyone. My name's Ethan. Thanks, Megan, for the invite. I don't know if this falls into the category of discrimination. As you can maybe tell, I'm from Northeast England, and one of the things that I definitely felt and acknowledged is it's very difficult for me to go to a restaurant or the grocery store or have work calls without people in good faith mimicking my voice, asking me where I'm from, and whilst I know that it is in great faith and comes from a place of genuine connection, I think as a selfish human being, it does become a little bit tiresome having those conversations, 15, 16 times a day with colleagues and friends and the waiter at the restaurant and checking out in Walmart. And I think, again, I think discrimination might be a strong word for that, because I think it is genuine kindness. But for me, I'm a little bit like, gosh, I would love to just order my meal without having to explain this, or have you show me your British accent, or ask me about how. And again, they sound so trivial, but over and over and every day, it does wear me down a bit after 6 and a bit years now in the country. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but it does become a little bit tedious doing it multiple times every single day.
Do you guys agree with that? Do you feel the same way? I'm so sorry. I am totally guilty of especially asking the Harry and Meghan question. But does anybody else feel that way? Do you feel offended? Do you feel like do you welcome it, or how do you feel?
I think it's a
Yes,
great
Hannah.
way to meet
Oh, sorry.
people. Oh, sorry. It's a great way to meet people. And I was shocked. I didn't know that I had an accent until I came here. And then people would say, I love your accent, but I love the American accent. But I sound fake if I try and speak with an American accent. So I guess I'm stuck with what I've got.
Go ahead, Anna.
I find the same thing. It's just a quick and easy way to make friends. I don't feel offended. In fact, I've been here 20 some years. I've lived here now longer than I have in Brazil. I'm from Brazil, by the way. I don't know if I said that earlier, but I feel like when people ask where I'm from, I think they want to know my, like my accent. But I'm from Utah, right? Like I'm from Murray or whatever. But when people say, where are you from? I just like, oh yeah, my accent, that's from Brazil, but I'm from, so I just go straight into, because I know what they mean. And I don't know. Yeah, I guess it can get old, but I think most people are just curious, and I'm curious too. So I don't know. I don't think I get annoyed most of the times.
I feel like a terrible person. Maybe I'm just terrible.
Hey, maybe
And
people
you've
like
only been here-
like
you've been
the
here a
British
short time.
accent more. I don't know.
And to clarify, I do genuinely know it's coming from a lovely place of friendliness and a desire to connect. So I hope it's not coming across that I don't want anyone to talk to me or and so just to clarify that, I do appreciate it and like it, but I think for me, especially when I'm with my wife and kids who are American or of American origin, I would like to enjoy an experience without the conversation having to be around that, which to them is a new and exciting experience. But I want to be able to enjoy an anniversary dinner without having to tell them why I'm here and what visa, and whatever it is. So
we understand.
Actually, really appreciate that, because we don't want everybody to think exactly the same way. And the whole goal is to try to learn and to be respectful, but no offense, not in the kind of woke expectful way, but just sort of, like we want to hear people's points of views and be respectful of them. Okay. Well, we'll go with, what are your thoughts on assimilation? Yes, Anna.
I'm raising my real hand because I don't know where the little hand is here. I think I almost didn't want to answer the other question because I feel like it would tie into this part. I feel like I haven't noticed prejudice or anything because of a certain degree of assimilation. And even though I'll carry my accent for the rest of my life and people will know that I'm, a first generation immigrant forever, I feel like I have assimilated the politeness, the holding the door, the not bumping into people that Brazilians tend to do. So I think a certain amount of assimilation is absolutely necessary. And that goes, like anywhere you go in the world, if you've traveled anywhere, if you kind of learn the costumes, and the traditions of, the place you're going to, and, it shows a respect to the people of that country. And I think that's why, I like, if I bumped into someone, I say sorry, like I don't want to be the stereotypical, immigrant that comes and keeps their own, unpoliteness. Like now I feel like Brazilians are not very polite. We do bump into each other and we don't hold the door and certain things. So I think a certain degree of assimilation is absolutely necessary, especially if you're improving yourself. And I feel like that is an improvement, to the person. It's basic common sense, politeness, and things of the sort. So I'll stop here because I think other people will have more.
Anna Benson, do you have your hand up? I just see that your speaker isn't on. Did you want to say something?
Did you say to me?
Yes. Did you want to say anything about your thoughts about assimilation? I just see your microphone not on, so I thought maybe you.
Oh, I was rolling. Oh, well.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was in assimilation. I was thinking about the question that you asked before, between what is the difference you see between your country and this country. And I don't want to forget about the stuff that I have in my mind. It was when growing up in Peru, because I'm originally from Peru, I participate in some rallies for candidates for president. And then I was executive secretary in a company that provide a lot of equipment for build pools, recreation centers for the government. And I was, doing my work, working directly with the owners of the company. And what I saw in this company, it was really, things that are cheating. Practically, the government. Every time we have a project with the government, one of the generals comes to our office and he had a big check. We have to give him under the table. And it was me, the one who has to prepare the checks and have it ready when he come and give it to him. So I noticed what the government was doing to the people, I felt like justice didn't exist in Peru. I felt that this government is just taking money out of the people by taxing them and then passing the money under the table for projects that the government was paying with one price, but in reality was another price. So I came to America and I felt totally different because when I studied the Constitution and I studied the three pillars, the judicial, the executive, and legislative pillars of the government, they bring power to those three pillars and they watch each other so they can control each other too at the same time and not be corrupted. That's one of the things that I really see the difference in my way growing up in Peru and growing up in here too. So I would say for me, between those two countries, the Constitution is so strong and solid here with the three pillars. They make it a strong, this country. And when I see Peru was happening, mostly all the three last presidents they had, Peru, they're in prison. They went to prison because they stole money. And one of them, was doing the same thing. And then at the end, the police came and get him so they can take it to prison. He killed himself because he didn't want to go through that. So you see this pattern in Peru repeating. What a bad government we have, what a bad presidents we have. They ended up in jail or in asylum in another country. And the people have to fight for it. And I'm so grateful for this country and for the Constitution and for the three pillars that we know, judicial, executive, and legislative, so we can have control in the government.
Sorry, Philemon and then Gina. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for the opportunity again. So I'm a strong believer in assimilation. But when I say strong believer in assimilation, the fundamentals of a nation to stay united and strong. When it comes to assimilation, every immigrant who loves this country has to be ready to assimilate linguistically. You could have an accent. I can change my accent, but that would change with the second generation, But I have to be able to communicate with even though we don't have an official language, but there is a language that we communicate among each other, which is English, right? And if we can tolerate a little bit of to other languages, but if we tolerate too much, it will change. It will create conflict among. It will create a new tribal ideas. Well, I speak that language because that's the main cause of many nations in the Middle East, in Africa. Actually, there are many languages in some country. Actually, around 600 languages, which is the main causes of tribal conflict, war, civil war, and all this stuff. So, and I believe that English language should be official, should be a legal official in this country. That way, every immigrant whoever came from, whether from Africa, Middle East, or Latin America, has to be legally integrated in that linguistic. And the second one is the culture or the value system. And I believe that I believe the Judeo-Christian value is the foundation of this country, and with the Anglo-Saxon culture, and with the common law and everything. And every immigrant should be integrated into that culture, and that's actually good for the country to stay united, to stay strong, to keep our civilization going on. Now we have all these conflicts, even in America, like the neo tribalism, like some people say, well, I'm LGBT, I'm transgender, I'm African American, I'm European American, I'm Muslim American. So like all these things is not good for our country, our civilization. And because we have many examples that when we separated culturally or linguistically, that it leads to more disaster, to more conflict. and historically many empires, when they extend too much and include a lot of other nations, they collapse. So I believe in the fundamental of assimilation, which is very important to the country. And this is a social science. It's not an argument, of Islamophobia or other kind of bigotry or extremism, and that's all I would like to say.
Okay, managed to finally unmute. I think that assimilation is actually vital to the survival of America. It's kind of on a smaller scale if you think and I hope I don't offend anybody with this, but people coming from California to buy homes in a state that's got cheaper homes. Then they change the whole dynamics and they complain about this and that. They want, well, when we were in California, we did it this way. So next thing, it's changed into another California. So the very things that they're trying to flee away from, it becomes like that. And so we don't want America to become like the places that we've fled away from. So it's vital to assimilate properly into the culture of America.
Can I ask the other side of that question? Anna Benson, once you told me that it's that you can love two countries. So there are things that you can love, and don't you want to keep some of your cultures? Like, and also, is it offensive when Americans are like, I want to participate in your culture? Like, oh, that's your cultural celebration, I want to go, I want to celebrate. Do you feel like that's mine, you can't touch it? Or do you feel like you want to share? And also, do you want to keep it? Do you have that desire to both love the country you've come from and the customs that you had, as well as to embrace other cultures?
Well, when you are in the country and you become citizen, you know history about the country, about United States, you develop that love inside of you, and you thinking about, well, I do have another country where I born with my parents, my relatives born. And I said to myself, what I can do to prevail, to let us keep it in me, that love for the other country too, in my heart. And I always thinking in my boys, because I had two boys. My heart is love them. They're two, but I love the same way. And I teach them the same way. And to keep my culture alive for me is to teach my children Spanish, to talk about my traditions, to talk about what grandpa did when he was a little boy, what things he did when he was younger, what grandma did, where did she born. When I talk about my parents and my meetings that we have the gatherings we have as a family in Peru, and I talk to my children, they get to know my culture better. And when we celebrate the Independence Day for Peru, they're coming and we celebrate it in here too. So when we celebrate Christmas, in 1 year we celebrate like Christmas like in United States, and the next year we celebrate Christmas like it was in Peru, like that same tradition like in Peru. So I try to keep a balance because I want my future generation to respect and honor the country where her mom's born. I want them to keep my language is part of my legacy for them. And they both speak Spanish. They both know the Spanish, and they both went to Peru many times. Not many, but they went 3 times to the country. And for me, like you described, the love is there. You can love your country, but keep your culture, keep who you are, not changing what you learn, what you've been raised by your parents. Keep that culture, but at the same time assimilate and keep that balance so you can love both at the same time, respect both at the same time, obey both laws and those countries when you're there. And if it brings you such a peace and such a balance, such a stability in your life, because your identity is not going to change because you define who you are.
Anyone else have thoughts on that?
You ask it to.
Okay, I'm going to move
You
to the
asking
next
me?
one. Oh,
Oh.
unless anybody has I don't see any hands on that one.
Oh, okay.
Did I miss something? I'm looking. I don't see anyone. Okay. Just because this will go off promptly at 9:00 because I have to catch a flight. All right. This is the one that I'm always wondering about because of what I know about what's going on in education. JFK once said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." A lot of people come to America for the opportunity, and not necessarily to contribute. What do you think? What do you think about that? Like, what is that? That ask not what you can do for your country, but what you can do for your country. When this becomes your country, what is your responsibility, and who is it to?
This is a really subjective question because many people contribute to the country in many ways. For example, in art, in the way that they work or what they do in their work, or for example, for me, it's public service and being involved in the community and serving people. And now as an elected officer, this is a way you can contribute to the country. But I have some friends who are very successful in business, and bringing more money, giving people many jobs through their companies. It's very, that's the beauty about America, that when you become American, you start giving to this country. You work hard and you start giving this country your best. It's, like I said, it's very subjective because for me, giving back to America is through public service, but maybe for other people is in another way. In the way that they practice their profession, or the way that they, I don't know, maybe play sport, or the way that they respect the country. But in my opinion, everything is about embrace and love America with all your heart. But yeah, that's pretty much.
Just to tag along from that as well, it's such a powerful statement. What can you do for your country? And not being from this country originally, but living here and calling this home now, I think my duty is to honor and respect the foundations that the country was built on. That includes honoring my freedom and using it for good, leveraging that freedom to make an impact in whatever way, as Carlos mentioned, you see fit. As the country is founded in principles of God and faith, whatever that faith looks like, am I being a good husband and a good father? Am I being an example to the people around me in my life? So when I think about that statement of what I can do for this country, there's not much I wouldn't do because of the opportunity and the life that I've been given here. My life has been significantly blessed and opportunity filled. And so what wouldn't I do? I'm not sure, because of the opportunity I've been given. So whatever facet that comes in, I think we have a duty as native citizens, as newer citizens, as alien citizens, as they refer to us sometimes, is giving all you have to the freedom and principles this wonderful country is built from.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
I will. Sorry,
Oh,
go ahead, Phil.
You go ahead.
I rather hear what you have to say. Go ahead.
Are you sure? Well, this country gives me, like, you can imagine what really she gave me, because I've been a survival of trafficking by Islam, I've been a survival of communist regime, and this country gives me a chance to live again, like literally to live again, a life, to raise a family. I'm a father of 3 boys, and I build businesses, non-profit organizations, like, so. And I came with, like, with zero money in here, like literally zero. And all these institutions that we have, whether it's cultural institution, economic institution, is is actually very important, not only to Americans as a citizen, also to the global. I want, what I can do to these countries, I want to make sure America stays first, not only inside, but on the global stage too. And that's one of the reasons that I actually founded the Agassian Media Foundation, which is promoting a Judeo-Christian value, a Western value, and also make sure Eritrea, where I am originally from, is 80% Christians, but controlled by Chinese, financed by a communist dictator who doesn't care about faith, family, dignity of human being. I want to make sure America will never ever be replaced by that evil global power, which is the Chinese Communist Party. And I'm working day and night to happen this. And it may not be like a big gift to my country, America, but, and I'm sure if this works out, it will be my duty. It's my duty as a citizen. And also it's not like hurting to my homeland. It's actually make sure my homeland remains who they are for the coming centuries. And part of America means to them is like living a life that we live in, having the opportunity that we have here. So, and that's the main point that I would mention in here. And like, I'm not like, that's why I want to make sure connect my children in here, assimilate in here, but at the same time, if we have a shared value that we can take either from here there, or from there in here, and that shared value is actually the love of our country, it's okay to do that. We can love, uh, basically at the end of the day, we love ideas, whether it's cultural, whether it's identity, whether it's freedom, wherever they are all ideas. So every America and is founded on the idea of freedom, on the idea of family, on the idea of faith, on the idea of human dignity. But there are other ideas which are not founded on this basic principles that we think it's normal in America. And then defending this bad idea, evil idea that's coming, it's already inside in America now. We can just give example now. New York, the most liberal capitalist city, is being like being influenced by the worst communist, socialist, Islamic candidate. And Minnesota is like the same is happening. So this idea can penetrate even your own citizens, and it can create conflict among each other. So fighting these evil ideas, whether inside or outside, defending our values, is fundamental and crucial to the survival of this great nation, and to the unity of this nation. So, and that's what I'm trying to do, whether it's inside, whether whatever doing outside where I came from, or in the region, or inside, I'm defending the fundamental values of this country gives to me, and the freedom, the liberty, and I have to be pragmatic sometimes, like we can let's say, if I love so much about my homeland, my language, I love it, you could see it on my banner. I have my own language, I love it so much. But if I really want to do is actually I want to make this country the same great like America and invite Americans to be part of me as I have become, or my children become part of them. And I can only do that in my home. I can't do it like some people, like you can stay boss. You cannot do that. And that actually will create in the future more chaotic, more civil conflict, because you have seen many countries, and we need to go at sometimes see the history. We need to have a historic perspective, global perspective. Like we're sometimes as American, we're too much involved inside, and we don't know even what America is in the global stage, and or in the history. All these empires in the past history were very brutal, including British, Ottoman, and all. And America is actually the most benevolent civilization or empire so far. Like, and that's all I want to say.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. It's going to cut off, and I think it'll cut off in exactly 1 minute. You guys, thank you so much for coming. You're fine. No, this has been watching your faces and seeing how that's what I mean by out of many one. You can look at these people, and all of you have beautiful, glowing smiles on your faces, and it's just, I mean, welcome to America. I just want to say this until it cuts me off. So it's true that America was built on the back of immigrants from the beginning of civilization through the founding era to today. Yes, America was colonized, but every country has its history of conflict, winners and losers. What matters is what we do now. Let us learn from our nations, many of which fell to ideologies that are presented in the name of compassion, but led to ruin. America has for so many been a city on a hill. Tonight, we remembered those and honored your stories. Please share them, and please be involved. If any of you want to do a long form interview, please reach out, because I like to collect these stories and share them, especially with my students. But I think it's really important that there is another narrative, not just America is bad, America is this awful place, but that it is that city on the hill and hope for so many. I have to go. It hasn't turned off yet. You guys are welcome to keep talking if you want to, but I've got to catch an airplane. So bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you so much, all of you.
Meet you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Safe travels. Bye.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, everyone.